Well, a lot of the Glocks got discontinued. You have done nothing wrong.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But good news, there are Glock clones on the market. So let's go over my top 5 Glock clones that you should be interested in picking up. Coming in at number 5 on our list is Shadow Systems. So I've only shot Shadow Systems at range events, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. However, I have talked with people that do own them, as well as talked with some other people that have put a lot of rounds through them, and it seems to be an overall solid Glock alternative. Downside is the price point is higher than just a standard base Glock, but the reason being is because they want to take a Glock and make it a little better. So you pay for some of those upgrades. For example, some of the Shadow Systems come with comps or ports on them, optic cut, better grip, and they claim better components as well. The look and feel is gonna be very identical to a Glock, hence why it's a Glock clone. And depending on what you're looking for, a Glock 19, 17, 45, or whatever clone you want, they have a lot of different options for you to choose from. Oh, and just a heads up, check out the video description down below. I'll have a Google spreadsheet with all the brands and pistols from today's list, so that way you can go check them out directly. Get on the ground! Moving on to number 4. We have one right here in front of us, and that is Lone Wolf. Similar to Shadow Systems, Lone Wolf does have their own versions of the Glock 19, 17, and I think a couple other models. The pistol we have in front of us is a Dusk 19, which is a Glock 19 Gen 3 clone. But the cool thing about Lone Wolf and this Dusk 19 is that you can see this grip gets skinnier, and that's to give you a different grip angle than a Glock, because a lot of people complain about how, you know, you're kind of like pointing it down in order to hit the target. So you get more of like I'd call it like a 1911 grip, a little more up and down. So if you're looking for a Glock clone but don't like Glock's grip, then the Lone Wolf brand and any of their pistols would be solid options. My experience with this, it's actually a pretty decent pistol. And the other big thing is that these are typically more budget friendly than a standard Glock brand pistol. So if you're looking to save some coin, might be a better alternative. Oh, and one last pro besides the price point is the trigger on these. These come with their own flat face trigger, and these are nice. Great break, solid reset, so I do like their triggers. Definitely a decent brand to check out. Moving on to number 3 on our list, it is a P80 or custom build. I personally don't have a custom build in this room, but I helped my buddy put one together. It was a P80 lower, and then you finish it, you serialize it, and then you pick which slide and barrels you want to put on it. So the cool thing about doing a custom build is you get to pick your favorite parts for everything and then just put it together like Legos. So if you want a Shadow System barrel, but you want a agency arm slide, and then you want to put a Lone Wolf trigger in it, you're going to be able to put all that together and then get your custom Glock put together. The only downside to this, some people argue, is reliability goes down because you have 5 different brands of products with different tolerances all put together on one pistol. So keep that in mind, and that's why honestly I don't have a custom build. That was my logic. But my buddy's put several hundreds of rounds through his. I think he's only had like a handful of malfunctions, and if you can find deals on all the parts for a custom build, it might actually end up being worth it. And as a reminder, down in the video description, I'll have a Google spreadsheet. I'll actually put some of the parts I'm talking about, so that way you can see how you can custom build it. All right, moving on to number 2 on our list, the Ruger RXM. And no, this is not a Ruger RXM. I don't have one currently. However, it is a Glock clone. They came out earlier this year, and if you go online for some other reviews on the Ruger RXM, they all seem to be pretty positive. Price point is similar to like a Glock. However, they made some changes on it to make it a little better than what a standard Glock is. For the most part though, Ruger, the brand, very trustworthy brand. So if you're just looking for a solid out-of-the-box Glock clone, then I think the RXM would be a solid option. If anyone has an RXM, let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments below. All right, on to number 1 for Glock clones that you should check out. And obviously this list is opinionated on my thoughts and experience, but number 1 on my list is the Palmetto State Armory Dagger. Similar to the other brands, the Palmetto State Armory Dagger has a Glock 19, a Glock 45, a Glock 43X, all these other different clone models of it as far as slide length and grip length. This one here is called their full size, which is a Glock 45 or 19X clone. And then this one here is the compact version, which is a Glock 19 clone. As seen, I have 2 daggers here, as well as I have 2 more daggers back here. This is their Saber dagger, which comes with a threaded barrel, flared magwell, and like a better trigger. And then this one here is their 43X clone, which they call their, I think it's just the micro dagger. But the cool thing about this, it has has a comp or port at the end here, definitely helps with recoil. Overall, my experience, I've put a minimum of 500 rounds through all of these daggers. This one ran flawless. This one had some malfunctions with a suppressor, as well as this one had malfunctions with the suppressor. And then I forget, one of these two had 1 or 2 malfunctions just without a suppressor. And then this gun ran flawless for 500 rounds without a suppressor. As far as the daggers being number 1 on my list here, besides me putting a lot of rounds through them and having a lot of experience on them, the other big thing though is the price point. Obviously you can get just a put together dagger and they have a lot of different configurations you can choose from. However, you can also pick up just a dagger frame and then choose your barrel and slide separately. And sometimes that actually comes out to be less. Again, down in the video description, I'll put in the Google spreadsheet what I'm talking about. But guys, they're like crazy deals on it. Like I'm half tempted to pick up like 5 of these at a time. But anyway, overall, the daggers, I love them. That's why they're number 1 for our Glock clones today. If you have any other Glock clones, drop a comment down below that I missed, or let me know if you're using any of these today. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.